DR, mate.
There's one thing to describe the DR. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right, Dad, you got 30 seconds to convince the audience why the DR650 is the best bike ever made. Your time starts now.
It's the best bike ever made because not one component is electronic. All right, completely all manual operated, carburetor, no fuel injection, overhead cam, single, adjustable valves from the top, screw on, unbreakable. I've had it for many years now and is absolutely unbreakable. Low on fuel, it's a bit of a thumper. For what it's worth, I would never sell it. All right, give me $1 million, mate, and I will not sell it.
All right, that's your 30 seconds. Was that convincing enough? Leave a comment if he convinced you that the DR650 is the best bike ever made. DR650 for a spin, and we're going to work out whether it is the best bike ever built or the greatest of all time. Is there any rules before I...
Any rules?
Yeah.
Don't bring the shit out of it. Okay?
Do some wheelies?
No wheelies.
Off-road?
You
Yeah. Well, off-road? Can I get it dirty?
You look after the bitch.
Yeah, I will.
This is my baby.
All right, you heard the man. All right, the first thing I've noticed is it is actually more comfortable than my WR250R. Both bikes have an aftermarket seat, but this one's just a lot more wider, so +1 to the DR650. Oh, the brakes are really bad, really bad. That front brake, oh my god, I'm squeezing it as hard as I can, it's still not locking up. Look, the bike was made, the design's from the 90s, so not everything can be perfect, but all right, first impressions, you know you're on a 650, just lumpy, big single cylinder. The exhaust sounds bloody awesome, does have an aftermarket FMF pipe. Let's feel what the torque is like, because, you know, big 650. This one does have some carburetor mods, not mods, but it's been rejetted to match the exhaust, so it's opened up a bit over stock. But yeah, let's see how it goes with taking off. All right, well, definitely more torque than the WR250R, but it pulls way harder from down low. Obviously with the 650cc, more horsepower, more torque. Yeah, definitely got some get up and go. So the point of this video was, you know, having a ride on the DR650 and providing some cases as to why it's potentially one of the best bikes ever built. And I myself truly think it is the case, because, you know, there's not many bikes in history that have had the production cycle that the DR650 has had. You know, it's been relatively unchanged since the late 90s. I don't know the exact year, but yeah, the same design, the same engine with very little changes, mostly cosmetic and graphical changes. You know, they've had their little issues. I know in 2015 they fixed the neutral sending unit, the NSU screw coming loose and causing damage. That was fixed, but that was a little thing that just needed to be Loctited. So I mean, when that's the biggest issue over a 20+ year production cycle, you know it's a good bike. It's a real shame that they're not sold brand new here in Australia anymore. As of I think it was last year or the year before. You know, in the last couple of years, they can't sell them anymore because of the laws, the ABS laws, and yeah, it's a real shame. They still sell them elsewhere in the world. I know the US still gets them. So that 2-decade-long production cycle still continues, and who knows for how long. Yeah, knowing Suzuki, if it ain't broke, they don't fix it, and they keep milking it. Man, this thing just pulls from any gear down low. It's so nice having that torque, but the brakes, oh man, terrible. So far the suspension is not bad, like soft, but for the road, very comfortable actually, very comfortable. Off-road, I feel like it's going to be way too soft. But I've seen on YouTube guys have got it upgraded, and you know, they're bloody sending it over tabletops and everything. So with a little bit of money, any suspension issues can be solved. But yeah, for just what I'm doing now, riding around town, absolutely perfect. It's soaking up everything. I'm really comfortable on it. Pulling into the local motorcycle store to pick up something for Father's Day. So he'll probably be watching this video since I'm riding his bike. But Dad, if you're watching, I'm here picking you up sign. Before I go in, let's just have a look at the bike. It's got a few mods: petrol tank, little screen, aftermarket seat, and yeah, it's just been rejetted. And then it's just got protection, bash plate, and bark busters. But man, the value of these bikes pre-COVID was insane what you would get. Like, I think we paid $6,000 for this, under 10,000 kilometers, or around 10,000 kilometers. And man, this can last forever. You know, a nuke would go off and the DR650 would still be trotting along. So fantastic value. And you know, it's kind of got that agricultural farm bike look, but I love it. While I was in the shop getting Dad's present, look what pulled up next to me, a CRF 250L. And I know these quite well because I used to own one and spent 2 weeks riding through the Australian outback next to one only a couple of weeks ago. So another great bike for the price. Man, you could get these brand new for around $6,000. So bloody awesome bikes for the price. Yeah, suspension sucks, they're down on power and stuff, but what they allow you to do, like look at what my brother did. Took it across Goog's track through the outback, didn't complain once. Phenomenal bikes. I really like the 250Ls and the 300L, which supersedes it. Beautiful and great bikes. Alright, well, enough about Hondas, back to Suzuki's. See how to start this thing. My dad started it before. Clutch. Easy. She purrs. Alright, let's go. We'll take it on the freeway and see what its freeway manners are like, because you know, an essential part of dual sporting and adventure riding has been able to handle the freeways. Like this thing, the GS probably handles it really well. Alright, let's see what she's like on the freeway. Oh man, she accelerates bloody quick. And like all dual sports, you get battered by the wind, but I'm used to it now, so. And actually this little windshield actually does make a bit of a difference. I feel it a lot more on my head than on my chest, which can be a good and bad thing. Alright, let's see what the passing power is like. I don't even know what gear I'm in. Oh man, plenty of power. Though I did find myself reaching for a 6th gear, but one of the pitfalls of this bike is that it only is 5 gears. But when you got this much power and torque, man, it doesn't really matter. Like, this thing still pulls and fits. But that's enough for the freeway. It's a good freeway bike for a dual sport, that is. Obviously the, you know, parallel twin adventure bikes are much more suited to it, but it does the job. Passes it with flying colours. It's a lane filter on it. I love lane filtering on dual sports because you just sit so much higher than everything. Got really good visibility. Oh, green light. It does well. The bike's not too wide. It actually feels narrower than my WR, because the WR Safari tank is quite wide, whereas this aftermarket tank is very narrow. So the question is the Suzuki DR650 potentially the greatest bike of all time? I think there's definitely a case for it, in terms of the segment that it sits in the dual sport segment, I think it's hard to argue that it's not. Like, obviously the newer bikes and stuff have their benefits over it, but you know, if we're talking about reliability, the cost, the fun factor, all of those combined, man, it's hard to beat the DR650. You know, it's an air-cooled bike, like, and you might laugh at that, but the design Suzuki has is phenomenal with this oil cooling system. They don't overheat, they got less moving parts. Like, these things are so hard to kill. So yeah, reliability, it's got most things beat. Yeah, it's carbureted, but you know, at least a carburetor you can potentially get working if you're in the middle of nowhere. If there is carb issues or fueling issues, what are you going to do with fuel injection in the middle of the desert? Are you going to replace your injectors out there? No. So, you know, carburation, yeah, it's finicky and it can be a pain to dial in, but my God, if you're in the middle of nowhere, I'd much rather be having to work on a carb than on a fuel injection system. And then there's the modifications that are available. Like, man, I don't think many bikes can beat just how many mods are on offer on the DR650, because it's been around for so long and all the aftermarket companies have had time to develop. There's pretty much everything you can think of they have for the DR650. So, and yeah, because they're still manufactured overseas, like you don't have to worry about aftermarket parts not being available. That's actually something with the WR250R that is starting to happen, is it's harder to find aftermarket parts brand new because they've stopped manufacturing the bike. So the DR650, it's still being manufactured and it's not a problem. You know, it's hard to come up with any negatives on this bike. Like, yeah, the brakes kind of suck, but you know, everything else, the fun factor is there. It definitely pulls hard, comfortable for a dual sport. I love this bike. Very flickable. Look at that. Woohoo! I don't know if there's much else to say about this bike other than, you know, I actually think it is the greatest bike of all time. A bold statement, but I don't know. You tell me in the comments, is there a bike that beats it?
Mighty DR, mate.
There's one thing to describe the DR. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It'll never be broke. It'll never be broke.
It's a good bike. It's a good bike. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I'm on the way back home now on my trusty V-Strom 1000, but hoping to do many more bike reviews going forward. I love riding different bikes, so yeah, if you enjoyed this one, subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.